Good evening and a warm welcome to this evening's edition of Performance Transformation with Naresh Makhijani. This evening we'll talk about strategy and strategic planning and how to implement it in organizations. We have a distinguished guest with us, Professor Dr. Hans Jaeger, who is an ex-CEO of a very large Swiss multinational and currently visiting Professor of Strategy in Indonesia. So we'll spend some time and learn from his experiences of how he was doing strategic planning for this large billion-dollar Swiss multinational in Asia. Welcome to Studios, Professor, and we are honored to have you today. Let me start off by asking the first question, which is why do companies in Indonesia need strategy and strategic planning now when they've done well over the last 50-60 years without too much of strategy and strategic planning as done in North American companies?
Well, Indonesia is a large country and it's a growing economy. So if companies want to be successful, they need to know where they want to go. They need to make choices.
How would you define this word strategy and strategic planning, and what is it actually?
You know, I have a very simple definition. I say strategy is about positioning yourself, your business versus competition. Strategy is making a choice because you may have a lot of options. You may try everything, but we are in a complex world and companies need to know where they're good at, where they're strong, so they need to make the right choices.
I'm sure there are challenges in the planning process. What are some of the major challenges in strategic planning process?
I say the first big challenge is anticipating what can happen. We have seen recently, starting with the financial crisis, economic crisis, we have not anticipated what can happen. The unthinkable happened, and I think the first challenge in strategic planning is to find out what can happen, but also to find out what are the opportunities. So I think these are, in a starting point, the two things you have to get right, otherwise your plan is going nowhere.
90% of strategies fail in implementation. So how do you go around ensuring strategy succeeds?
Yes, unfortunately, this is the case. And I think this comes with the sort of complacency. You think, now I have a plan and everything is okay, it should be run. But companies neglect the communication plan, the communication part. The plan is not properly communicated. The plan needs resources that are not available, and at the end you have budget cuts, you can't execute. And last but not least, it's about aligning people, aligning your organization behind your strategic planning. And when this part is not executed properly, a strategy plan just doesn't work.
Many companies fail to implement strategy. Why does strategy fail?
From evidence, we don't hear very often from failing strategy unless the company fails. It fails for two reasons. First, because it's not properly implemented. It's lacking the support. The second failure of strategy is that change in environment, in business environment, is not seen and not taken into consideration that strategy has to adjust if your business environment is changing. Remember again all these companies that did not anticipate what happened in the recent years in terms of financial crisis, in terms of economic problems. So they were surprised. They had no idea how they would react, and they were running out of time. A strategy plan can help you to anticipate certain scenarios, get answers, how do you respond to such development, and be proactive, prepared to how you're going to respond.
With that, we come to end of tonight's show. I'd like to thank our guest tonight. We'll be back next week, so don't go away. Till next week, have a good night.